Hi everyone, hi subscribers, it's Sloan Rhodes here with your Spiritual Self-Mastery class, Ego and Heart, for the week of February 17th, 2018. Welcome. I hope everyone had an interesting week last week. Today I'm going to be drawing from the Magical Unicorns Oracle card deck by Doreen Virtue. And as I do every week, I'll get one card and for the overarching energy for the week, and we'll look at how the ego may try to distract us and how we can drop into the heart more, and then one card for what we can expect or look forward to regardless. And I just want to remind everyone that as I go through these weekly readings and I kind of try to identify how the ego may try to come in, it's how it may try to come in. Remember that the goal of these classes is to help you identify your own egoic triggers and structures within, so that you can more easily navigate the egoic energies and drop into the heart more easily, more quickly, so that you can feel more peaceful and more serene and experience deeper levels of joy. So it's not about me giving you answers, as you know, to what the ego will do and what your heart, is meant to do. It's about me sort of pointing out where it may come in to help you more quickly identify it. But your own experience of the ego will be, unique to you and your set of circumstances, as well as the ways in which you drop into the heart. So something to think about, and just remember that, we're looking at, of course, guidance for the week. But truly, it's a class to help you work with those energies in ways that are unique and relevant to your life and your experience. Sorry, this light is kind of bright on me. I hope you can still see me. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And as I say every week, these videos and all of my videos on YouTube are available on the audio podcast, so you can listen to them as well as watch them here, and there's a link below. And I do have my online courses for how to read oracle cards and tarot cards available at the Sloan Academy. There is a link below. And so if you're interested in learning how to read oracle cards, there's some great classes there. There's also a class on crystals and spirituality, so you may want to check that out. And the advanced course, how to read oracle and tarot cards, is really very, very helpful for helping you understand your own intuition and deepen your connection to your intuition, regardless of whether you use oracle cards or not. So something to think about. There are some videos up that I kind of go through the classes so that you can look and see if it's right for you. All right, so the week of February 17th, 2019. Here we go. Change. The changes that you're going through are positive. And practice. And love heals fear. Under the deck. All right, so here we are. Change. The changes that you're going through are positive. And then what we can expect or look forward to regardless is this idea of practice or practicing. The best way to be good at a skill is to practice, practice, practice until you get it right. Certainly true when it comes to working with your ego and dropping into the heart. The more you can recognize when you are in a place where the ego is trying to distract you, the more quickly and easily you can drop into the heart space, so you can experience more peace and deeper levels of joy more of the time. Okay, so when we have love heals fear, the power of your love can help bullies and angry people be less afraid. Now that is certainly true, but if you look at it in terms of this class in particular, when you're looking at the egoic energies, I want to just adjust this really quickly about this idea of love heals fear. In terms of a specific, the practical, which is what I like to draw, bring it down to the practical, because a lot of these concepts we understand in an intellectual level, at an intellectual level, but bringing them into practice, identifying them in the day-to-day, in the moments that we experience in life, can be trickier. So in terms of this card, Love Heals Fear, what as I feel it, what that is really kind of directing you towards is whenever you are going through life sort of unconsciously, or having a moment of unconscious behavior or exchanges, when you connect with someone else who's deeply unconscious, it very quickly pulls you into there. It's like a, and it pulls you into that level of unconsciousness too. So it takes a lot of awareness and presence to be with someone who's deeply unconscious without getting drawn into their energy. So when you think of love heals fear, yes, that's true. But even on a more practical level, it's about your awareness helps disengage fear. Because when you are not meeting fear with fear, there is no need to react to somebody. And so then you are reflecting to them their own peace, their own love within self. So it takes practice, and especially with very unconscious people, very quickly, the ego comes in and you are right with them. You are like, so quickly angry, and you're matching their anger with anger or fear with fear. Fear is always, behind anger. So the more that you can be present, bring your sense of presence to a situation or an encounter with an individual. I'll say in terms of an individual because, it's usually with other people that we get triggered the most. The more that you can be present, remind yourself of your heart-centered energies, remind yourself that you are safe, secure, and deeply loved no matter what. Bring your presence, the strength of your soul to that experience or that encounter or that interaction, the less engaged you will become and the less the other person will want to engage you. They have nothing to fight against. It's like fighting against glass. It's like there's nothing satisfying about that. It's just like it's just so smooth, and that helps them to see their own peace and to experience a greater degree of, even though it may be just a sand of serenity, it does provide them with an alternative, and it's not so much about them, but it's about you not getting pulled into their energy field. I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's look at this idea of change. The changes that you're going through are positive. Well, the ego doesn't like change. The ego likes to have top billing. The ego likes to be the one in control. And here you are, you are identifying the ego more. You are recognizing how you can drop into the heart more quickly. And when you begin to do this, change ripples out, right? Your external world, as we see it, begins to reflect more of the changes that you're making internally. And these are positive changes, right? But the ego may come in very strongly whenever there's change afoot and try to keep you in the familiar patterning of fear, anxiety, conflict, right? And this can come in a variety of ways. And it speaks to this idea, I think, this is why it came in like this, of, love heals fear. You may encounter individuals or circumstances this week that want to, that challenge you. And your job, let's say your responsibilities throughout the week, is to recognize that there is an opportunity here to continue to deepen your connection to the positive changes you're already making, as opposed to getting sucked back in to the older patterning. Many times when we're trying to make a change, the egoic energies tend to come up in order to, challenge, not necessarily in a negative way, but just to help you deepen your connection to the changes you're wanting. So, you may experience that this week. Or even you may experience a lot of fear because suddenly you don't feel like you're the same person, or you may feel like everything looks just slightly different, like your world is beginning to shift as your changes shift, and that can be frightening to the inner child, to the ego. And you may, be like, I don't think I want this anymore, because you're kind of like leaping, let's say, into the unknown in many ways, and you don't have that footing that felt familiar. And so fear can arise very, very quickly. So, be as conscious as you can. You'll recognize when, even if you don't recognize how the ego is coming in, you'll feel it. You'll feel the fear begin to rise within you. And you can say, yes, And you can turn, and for me, that's the wail of the inner child. I need to feel safe. I need to feel loved. I need to, feel whatever. And so you can turn to your own inner child and you can say, yes, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. You're safe with me. Or you can just, and if that feels too much, you can just recognize the inner child as I feel it and sort of personify it. And you can just turn and say, I hear you. And you acknowledge the inner child, even that, as opposed to feeling like that is you and you have to respond to that fear arising or the anger arising. Sometimes it just suddenly you can feel it. Suddenly you're like, I feel fear. I feel something awful rising within me, and you can say, okay, I see you, I hear you. And you move forward without identifying with it, because as soon as you begin to identify with the feeling, then the corresponding thought structures, thought forms begin to match it. And then not only do you feel it within you, but now your mind has taken it and said, yes, you're in danger. You're, this person, we need to relive and rehash this situation, or, this person's awful. And then you're off to the races, So, and then the heart-centered energies around change are just to drop in and say, yes, you're safe. I'm making some changes. It's uncomfortable to the mind and to the ego, but how amazing that I'm more aware of it. Look at the ways in which my world, external world, is beginning to reflect the changes I'm making within. And it's not always comfortable, and it's not always my preference, but how exciting that I'm aware of it now. How exciting that I'm beginning to deepen my connection to the truth of who I truly am, so that I'm not being whipped around so much by the changes that are occurring around me. And it may be this week that the changes that you're seeing aren't your preferences. Now, for many of you, they will be your preferences, and you can celebrate that. And the ego will come in and say, yes, look at this, is better than it was before, And you can say, okay, calm down, ego. This is certainly more of my preferences. But I don't feel this sense of jubilation because of the external, but I feel this sense of deepening joy and connection because of the internal work I've been doing. It's not outside in. You come to the heart first, inside out. And then we have practice. Practice. Continue to deepen your connection to the work. Continue to recognize when the ego comes in more quickly. Recognize more quickly where the ego comes in. Practice dropping into the heart. This will include I don't know, I haven't had any questions about this, but dropping into the heart is, of course, about self-love, compassion, but also about deep presence without the judgment that something needs to change externally in order for you to feel better, safer, more connected. So presence, being present in the moment without the egoic overlay of this is good, this is bad, I'm a victim somehow, they're doing this to me, I need to work harder in order to change this. It's just about being present with the moment. And again, the moment is not just a small thing. The moment is everything that's occurring in the now, let's say. Everything. The fullness of it all. Being present. That's dropping into the heart as well, without so much trying to drop into the heart. I'm going to drop into the heart now. Of course you can do that too. But when you're just present, one of the best ways for me to remind myself if I get caught up in the ego, and I do, as we all do, is to just drop into the present moment. And for me, it's like casting my gaze around and just noticing everything that has been created in my world, and be like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Color for me draws me instantly into the presence. Again, as I mentioned, I'm very tactile, so I like to touch things. It's like, oh wow, it's so soft. I wonder if that's 100% cotton. And just your curiosity and your fascination with the present moment helps distract you from the ego's desire or not even desire, but the egoic patterning of fear and anxiety and something in the future and something in the past, but bringing yourself present by noticing, the present moment, what's available to you. And for some of us, being tactile can be helpful. Our senses, gazing around, noticing color, noticing beauty, listening to the stillness as opposed to listening to the sounds, brings you very present. And then you're dropping into the heart without trying to drop into the heart, is my point. It's a practical way to practice it without necessarily forcing yourself to. And I've already covered the Love Heals Fear card. Okay, so full disclosure, this is the second video I made about this because the first one did not record. And I don't remember all the cards, but I did draw from this deck as well. And the first card that came up was Everything's Okay. And I say this, I guess, for some of you who that message is for. Because remember, we have change. And when I first did this reading, it didn't record, but I remember the first card that came up around the ego and the heart was Everything's Okay. So I relay that to you as well. All right, I wish you much love, and I will see you either at your private appointment or over on the podcast or at the Sloan Academy or on the next video. Much love to you all.